Black Ops 1 Zombies gave us some of the most iconic maps ever made, but none of them were perfect. Beneath the nostalgia, each map had one flaw that held it back. How's it going, everyone? My name is Bearsy. In this video, we're taking a look at every Black Ops 1 Zombies map and finding out what each one does worst. Let's dive in. So Black Ops 1 Zombies is actually iconic, really revolutionized the series going forward. We got some amazing characters that we come to know and love today, which is Richtofen, Takeo, Dempsey, and Nikolai. We've also got some pretty iconic wonder weapons as well, that being the Thunder Gun and the Zap Gun. Same thing with maps. You know, we've gotten all these amazing maps, but each one had a specific flaw, and I want to transition into now Kino biggest flaw. Alright, so we have a ton of maps to go over in this video, and yes, I'm including the World at War, remakes for Call of Duty Black Ops 1, and this list was very hard to make, but Kino biggest flaw has to be there was no innovation to this map. Now, before you click off the video, I just want to say that I don't think Kino is a bad map by any means. In fact, it was one of the most iconic Zombies maps out of all time because, that's where all of us zombie fans really started with Call of Duty Zombies in general. We've also had the training stage, we've had the Thunder Gun, we also just had very iconic moments within this map. But coming from something like Duris from World at War to Call of Duty Black Ops 1, which is Kino, it really didn't feel that innovative. Like, they could have added a brand new perk, they could have added a brand new mechanic to the map. Just something a lot more meaningful to us zombie fans to actually make Kino a lot better than something like Duris. Sure, these are both great maps, but coming from World at War to Black Ops 1, this is Kino's biggest flaw. Now let's look at its other launch brother, 5. So for 5, I have to say, the map layout for this one, now there really wasn't a ton of differences between this and also Kino. These are different maps, but for the flaw, like I said, the map layout itself is just very weird. You have a top floor, a middle floor, and a bottom floor with elevators taking you from top to bottom, from floor to floor. You also do have teleporters, which is nice, but I feel like a lot of people don't like this map because it's very, very tight. Like, if you go to the top floor, it's tight. If you go to the bottom floor, it's tight. The only time where you have like an openable space is where that Pentagon room is, where a lot of people train with the freeze gun to actually get to high rounds. Other than that, pretty much like the top floor and the bottom floor is a death sentence to anybody because you really can't do anything within this map. So that's why I'm saying, the biggest flaw within 5 is going to be the map layout. But now let's take a look at the first DLC that is ever released for Call of Duty Black Ops 1, Ascension. Alright, so Ascension is pretty much a perfect map. It really doesn't have a ton of flaws. There is one, however, and I can guarantee you 99.9999% pretty much the same things as a hand sanitizer bottle can kill the germs with. That amount of percentage of you guys are going to say the same thing as me. I don't have to save up for video clarity. I'm going to monkey rounds. Now, this is one of the most annoying things on Ascension, and it really does make high rounding, come to a halt sometimes. Not all the time, but, when the monkeys come and steal your perks, you just have to rebuy your perks again. And on high rounds, this isn't really that much of an issue because you're going to be getting a ton of points with, like, the Black Ops 1 point system, which, if you guys don't know, if you guys have only played the newer CODs, the point system was very different back then. So getting points was really not an issue. But every single time that those stupid sirens came on, I swear to God, all of us would just be like panicking, like, okay, what perk are we gonna lose? We all gotta run to our perks, we gotta protect our perks. And the good thing is, at least if you didn't let a monkey touch your perk machine, you would be able to get a free perk, which is nice, but then it's most likely gonna go away again, and it's just a rinse and repeat cycle of just losing your perks, buying your perks, losing your perks. You guys get the idea. So this was definitely the biggest flaw of Ascension. Now let's go look at a snowy environment, Call of the Dead. Alright, so with Call of the Dead, I don't have to say it again, but I'm going to say it for video clarity, that being George Romero. Now, George Romero is so annoying. In fact, I'm pretty sure I saw a video somewhere where you get $1 million, or 10 million, and, if the slug touches you, you die instantly. So this is pretty much like that situation where George Romero is the slug, and us humans have the $10 million because he constantly follows you anywhere you go. There's no break other than literally killing him or using like the VR11 to calm him down. Now there are quick ways to kill him, and you are rewarded nicely if you do kill him, but just the fact that it's impossible to like sit up on the lighthouse and camp, the fact that it just makes training almost impossible in like beneath the lighthouse area because he's always following around, and if you make him mad, he's gonna get angry and run at you, and you have to go cool him off, you know, in the water or shoot him with a VR11. You know, just this whole entire George Romero situation in Call of Dead is what really breaks this map from actually being a top tier map. So this one was definitely a given, but let's go to one of the most hated Call of Duty Black Ops 1 Zombies maps of all time, Shangri-La. So this is the community's most hated map. For some odd reason, I really liked this map growing up as a kid. I don't know what it was, but I just liked the jungle environment. I just felt like some sort of like Egyptian soldier. I have no idea. I was little back then. Now I'm 26 years old, so I clearly don't think that way. And I think this map absolutely sucks. But there were so many flaws, the napalm zombies, the map layout, but I really wanted to be unique here and actually not classify the map layout or the napalm zombies as the biggest flaw. But I'm going to say the pack-a-punch here. Now, in solo, this is fine. Like, this is actually a pretty good thing because you can run, stand on a pressure plate, then zip your way back up to the pack-a-punch, but you're only going to have a limited amount of time to actually pack-a-punch weapons. But good luck actually doing this in a co-op game. You know, the way that the pack-a-punch system works in Shangri-La, if you guys don't know, is there's 4 pressure plates standing, you know, around the map. And, you know, depending on how many players are in your game, let's take the example 3 here. There's going to be 3 pressure plates that all the players need to stand on. Now, in a public game, this is never happening because, number 1, there was no text chat. Number 2, you know, zombies in public games is just one of the weirdest environments to be in. So there's that for you. And also, you know, it's just like, when you go up there, if you guys manage to do it, it's like pretty much 1 pack-a-punch per person. You have to go back down, do it all again, rinse and repeat. You know, just trying to find a lobby that's actually going to be able to pack-a-punch in Shangri-La is probably one of the most difficult things out there. Like I said, unless you're playing with your friends, this is definitely the biggest flaw for Shangri-La because you need pack-a-punch in order to survive on these maps. Sure, you can survive with napalm zombies. Sure, you can actually work your way around the, you know, the map layout. But for pack-a-punch, this is something you desperately need in order to actually survive, and this was the biggest flaw in Shangri-La. But now let's go into the jumping giant, that is Moon. Alright, I feel like with this map, every single person is going to have a different flaw, so there's no wrong answer here. You know, you could say the astronaut, you could say the low gravity. But for me, and I feel like it's the worst thing that actually ruins gameplay, is the excavators. Now, how many times are you playing on Moon and you're actually doing really well, but then all of a sudden you hear a couple beeps and it's saying Excavator 6. I'm pretty sure I just brought back a ton of memories there, but Excavator 6, you know, is drilling down. You gotta get over there. Let's say you're at the biodome. You gotta, you know, find the hacker device. You gotta run all the way over there. Hopefully in time, you actually get over there, and then, you know, you gotta actually deactivate the excavators. Now, let's say you're just trading around for fun, right? Well, let's say both Excavator Tunnel 6 and 11 come down, and now what you do? Well, now you're in a rut because you have to bring the hacker device from the other side of the map to the Pack-a-Punch area, Area 51, and actually go back and do it yourself. And if you're on the other side of the map, you can kiss it goodbye because, you know, it's just a very big nightmare for it. And also, a lot of people, you know, like to excavate the biodome. Some people don't. You know, the excavators as a whole is what really puts a stall on this map, because if you're going for high rounds, if you're actually doing everything you're supposed to, and all of a sudden you let an excavator go, oh, well, my plan's ruined. I gotta go stop doing the excavator. So I don't know what it is with all these Black Ops 1 zombies maps that just ruin the flow with all these flaws, but honestly, you know, this was the biggest flaw. And let's look at the very first zombies map ever created, that being Knocked. So for the bonus maps, I'm going to go relatively quickly, just speed down my list. You know, Knocked during towing, I have to say, there's no pack-a-punch on this map. Now, granted, it is the first ever zombies map, so I get it if there's no pack-a-punch, and I really couldn't find another flaw, so I had to say no pack-a-punch here. You know, it's just impossible to survive the high rounds unless you have the thunder gun. For Rucked, I had to say, replacing the Wonder Waff with the freeze gun, and I remember doing this my first time. I'm like, where's my boy the Wonder Waff? Why is it the stupid freeze gun that I feel like doesn't work in zombies? That's what I said for Verrucht. For Shinonuma, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't think of a better one for this, so I had to use ChatGTP, and it said the map layout, and honestly, I can kind of agree with it because I really can't think of another flaw for, Shinonuma at the time because there really wasn't a ton going on for World at War. And honestly, this is for the memes out there. Derice's biggest flaw, and there is no Easter egg door. And I gotta actually explain myself with this one because I feel like a lot of people aren't going to understand what I'm about to talk about. But there was like a hidden thing. Like, if you ever think of like Super Mario 64 and like, the iceberg of it, think of it like this as well, where the Derice door, a lot of people actually thought the door would open and give us a bunch of ammo, a bunch of, points, and, just a bunch of pack-a-punch guns, and you would fight this Hitler boss. I believe that's what it was. I can't entirely remember. Now, obviously, no, within the game's code, it's not there. But, this was, one of the biggest flaws because, honestly, as for the meme reasons, this would have been a really cool thing to actually experience within Call of Duty, Black Ops 1 Derice, and even World at War Derice, but it's not here, and this is the biggest flaw. But, honestly, all these maps were actually really great. Like, playing them, actually experiencing them, in its prime, these maps were all great. These are just the biggest flaws that I could pick out within each of these zombies map because, all maps aren't perfect. Every single map is going to have something wrong with it, and these are my biggest flaws. But now I want to hear from you down there in the comment section below. What do you think is the biggest flaw out of any zombies map within Black Ops 1? Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with one of them? Or do you disagree with all of them? Let me know your biggest flaws down there in the comment section below. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. If you guys did enjoy, as always, smash that thumbs up button because Einstein still can never figure out this algorithm to this day. Also, if you guys want to see more videos like this, I will do it for the worst and the best series of all the way from Black Ops 1 all the way till Black Ops 6 and even Black Ops 7 Zombies when that comes out fully. But also subscribe to the channel if you guys do want to see more videos like this and show support. So that way I know I can make more videos like this because that's what you guys really enjoy. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is Bearsley signing off. Stay healthy, stay clean. Bye.